Hey, it's Tony from Cassette. Come back and welcome to day 3 of 7 cassettes in 7 days. So it's in the title, so we know what you're looking at today. We're looking at these Yashimas. We've got the UFO I and the UFO IS. So yeah, Yashima. Now I have seen these before. I've never tempted to buy one for a couple of reasons. One, well, they look 70s, and they are 70s, late 70s from what we can tell, and they also come from Taiwan. Now, Taiwan, Hong Kong, not the best when it comes to cassettes normally. Normally, if you look at like Acme, etc., the greatest proponents of Hong Kong cassettes, we know that they're pretty universally rubbish, even though at moments, they did make something decent. So these are both sealed. I don't know what to make of them. So let's have a look. So this is the, we'll start with the UFO I ultraferric oxide, and there's also a UFO Plus as well, which looks the same. They all say ultraferric oxide and high energy and ultra dynamic, and on the back it just said this precision cassette filled with low noise tape. Oh, low noise tape. 5-year replacement guarantee. Oh, that's quite impressive. And this one is, again, it's ultraferric, but it's a new formula, and it says pretty much exactly the same on the back. So not a lot to go off. So let's open them up and let's have a look at the inside. And I'm thinking pretty surely that these are going to be in a low quality black shell, to be honest with you. And hang on, let's get the old knife out so I can actually split this. Right, there we go. I mean, even the actual case doesn't feel, that good quality, but hey ho. Right, yeah, so, so paper label, cheap looking shell, DBX, okay, so, right, yeah, so let's have a see what else it says inside. 5-year guarantee. If it's developed a fault, it will be replaced for 5 years from the date of purchase. Okay, right, so send it back to, I'm really sure that if I bought this from Woolies and I kept the receipt for 5 years or 4 years and 364 days and then returned to Woolworths saying, hello, I want this replacing, it is not quite good anymore, it's developed a fault, I'm sure they'd be tripping over themselves to give me a replacement for a 4-year-old cassette. But yeah. Other than that, there's the J card for it. Because like I said, there doesn't seem to be any address to send this back to, so the chances, I think, of people actually going back after 4 and a bit years for a replacement cassette are 0. So that's why I think they can brag about it, not worry. Now this one, the new formula, has got a red tear strip on it, which should make it easier to open. I mean, even the name Yashima, it's almost like Yashica, that used to make cameras and films, but no. Now this is a different. Yeah, it's a different case. It's got this indent in it, so it's a different case at least from that one. They're still horrible cases, and this one looks. Well. They look very similar, don't they? The shell is different. This one's got flat screws at the back. The shell is different, but not a massive amount of difference in them. Let's have a see. And the J card. You see, the J card on this one doesn't have the long spiel about taking it back. So it says 5-year replacement guarantee, but how you're supposed to get it, who knows? It doesn't tell you how to send it back. So like I say, I think that replacement guarantee thing was just some marketing BS that they didn't actually think anybody would actually take them up on. So let's have a look at the two cassettes side by side. So we've got one with a red leader, which is the newer one, and one with a clear leader, which is the older one. You see, this is what you can do here, but you see, we can put them through both and wind them at the same time. Look at that technology, yeah? So let's have a look. One's got a lot less leader than the other. So So the newer tape on the bottom has got a browner tape than the one above, which is darker. And so don't know what to make of that. Normally when you see a darker brown tape, you normally think, oh, cobalt doped, and it's a bit newer, but no, the newer one is this one at the bottom, which is browner than the one at the top, but the tape looks fairly well calendared on both of them. Actually, no, the bottom one at the bottom doesn't. The tape, if I was to say anything, the tape at the top to me looks the better of the two, but I guess what we'll do is I'll put these in the ZX9 and we'll use the ZX9 and we'll calibrate the older one first, and then we'll compare the calibration to the newer one, and we can see then whether there is massive difference in the formulas, and then I guess we'll record some music onto each one. We'll use the same track and we can compare and contrast, see if the new formula is better or if it isn't, or if it doesn't matter because these are not made anymore and it's 50 years ago nearly. Anyway, right, let's go and fire up a deck. So it turns out that I did a video on the UFO Plus a few years ago. I did it with a mix of other off-brand cassettes, so if you search in the channel for Yashima, you'll find the video easy enough. But online there's not a lot about these cassettes. But this is one thing which I did find, an advert, and from what I've read, this comes from 1979, where Cleo Lane recommends Yashima blank cassettes, and she's a dame now and a bit of a legend, so that was a bit of a coup. It's not like, Stevie Wonder advertising TDK, but, for English people, this will have meant something. So we're not going to look at UFO Plus, we're going to look at the UFO one and maybe the other two in this advert, but as we get into it, I think you'll find that this whole advert comes across as a bit Del Boy and Arthur Daly. If you're English, you'll know what I mean, but, they're really trying to say, these are honest, governor, these are good, governor, honest, but let's have a quick look at it. Let's zoom in a bit. So the UFO one is what we're looking at. And if we look at it, a C90, 1979, a list price of £3.05. That seems bloody expensive, that does, for 1979, even though they are discounted to £1.28. But, is it one of them things, you see it so often, like Invicta watches, if you're into watches, Invicta watches insane RRPs, and they're always on 70 and 80% discount, which is the price that they should be anyway. Not that I've got anything against Invicta watches, I'm just saying them as an example. But here, like a C90 entry level, as they call it, chrome, £4.03, and then the ultra chrome, £4.54 for a C90 cassette in 1979. I mean, that's a lot of money, that, even though they are discounted massively, £1.98, £1.74 and £1.28. I don't know, there's just something that doesn't ring true about massive discounts on stuff. So if we look a bit further, there's also multiple offers on this. Right, for example, Deluxe stereo headphones, normally they're 15 quid. You can buy them for 12 quid here, well, 11.95, but you get one set free with 20 mixed UFO and UFO ones. You pay for, excluding 13 45-minute versions. So you bought 20 mixed cassettes, you get yourself a free pair of headphones. But then the other introductory offer is, one same size type free with every 3 UFO, blah, blah, blah. So if you bought 3 of the same tape, you get another one free. So if you're buying 20, you could get potentially another 6 cassettes free. But then, special quantity bonus, claim 1 C90 UFO 1 for every £10 you spend. So if you're buying 20 of them, you're going to get another 2 cassettes. So there's a lot of giveaways here, massive inflated RRP, special discounted rates and loads of freebies. It just, I don't know, it just comes across a bit, Ronco. But there's more. And it doesn't really smack of high quality, even though it has got an endorsement from someone who was very popular in the UK, and they bothered to do magazine articles and adverts like this, as opposed to just flogging them on market stores. So, anyway, let's just skip the advertising for the moment. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty and actually have a look at these cassettes and see how they sound. Okay, we're going to use the ZX9 on this. I think what we should do first is we should use the first version, not the new version, the first version first. One thing to note, if you look at the bottom here at the leader, the camera wants to focus on the deck, not the leader, but you can see it, that there's little red lines on the clear leader, and these could be associated with the TDKD around this time, so maybe this could have had TDK tape loaded in it. I mean, it'll have tape from someone else loaded in it. I doubt Yashima made their own tape, so who knows. But let's see if we can get it all biased and calibrated up. So let's just fast forward it on a bit. Okay, let's have a look. Right, the azimuth seems okay, so the level, okay, that's okay, and the bias, it's a little tad over, but it's about right. Yes, I did actually have a calibrate of this beforehand, but there we go. Bias calibrates, level calibrates, azimuth is spot on. So that's all good. So what we're going to do is we're going to play Synergy again. I'm going to record it at around 0 to +3, and then we'll whack in the newer version and see how that compares. Okie doke. Right, so let's get it recording and let's play some Synergy. What a load of rubbish that was. Definitely type 0. No, it wasn't, was it? That was really good. I mean, you know, I know when you have low expectations to begin with, but a late 70s type 1, I'll put that against anything Scotch, TDK, Maxell and Sony were kicking out as, you know, budget basement £1.39 cassettes back then. That sounded really good. Very impressive. So, let's see if the improved formula, or the later one, does a better job. Now, the only thing is this has got a red leader to it, so this, you know, could have different tape in it. If I was going to guess red leader, I'm thinking German in origin, but we'll see. But let's see firstly if this calibrates just the same as the previous version, or if we have to tweak it. And again, let's compare the performance again. So, let's get it calibrated up. Okay, the azimuth is different, but let's get the levels done first. Okay, so it's a tiny bit over. Okay, now the bias is a lot different. Let's see if I can crank it up. Yeah, okay. And just like the Tony tape, I can't quite get this new one all the way there. Let's see if we adjust the azimuth, see whether that brings it into position. Alright, the azimuth is there now, the level's there now, the bias, you see getting the azimuth right has helped with the bias, so let's just bring that down. It's a bit all over the place, the old bias there, it's not mega stable, but okay, we're there. Bias, level, azimuth. Okay, so it is biasable. Right, so yet again, let's keep the levels the same. Let's play Synergy one more time. Again, an early 80s, no brand really,
cheap cassette. Cassettes all sound shit, don't they? All of them. They're all shit.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Dance while the record spins. Sorry, 90s clubber. No, I've said it before, I'll say it again. There's nothing more surprising than a surprise. So, bargain basement, discounted, tack on some sort of celebrity endorsement, take a name which seems to be a rip-off of a camera company, making it sound Japanese and stuff, you know, like everything good was in them days. Have it made in Japan, in Taiwan, and yeah, this all had the recipes for not being great cassettes, but they really were. Not just for late 70s, early 80s cassettes, but in general, they were good cassettes. I'm going to happily record on these. Now, personally out of the two, I prefer the early one. The second one, like I say, if you look at the tapes again, the earlier one has the much darker tape than the second one. And with that leader, could it be because this is actually TDKD tape? Well, we'll never know for sure, but, you know, it could be. I thought that sounded great. I really did. This one, the new one, still sounded really good. But, you know, sitting there, focusing on it, could tell a few dropouts on this. But what do you want? These are at least 40 years old, if not older. And it would be nice to sort of gather a load of new old stock late 70s cassettes and bang them in a very up-to-date, you know, much later recorder and see how good they really were. But unfortunately, due to the age, the scarcity, you know, this one here could have just been stored a lot worse than this one, and that's why it has the dropouts. Who knows? It'd be really hard to do it with old cassettes now purely because of the age. But all I'll say about these Yashimas are, I thought they sounded really good. And back in the 70s, you know, not that I was taping then because I was still a little sprog in them days, I wouldn't have been disappointed with buying these if I bought them and got free set of headphones and load free as well for like 25 quid shipped to my door. I'd have been quite made up with them. So yeah, these are good now. If I see any of the chrome versions knocking around at a decent price, I might be tempted to get them and give them a spin as well, because even though these look cheap, the shells aren't amazing, you know, they've got a very market sold whiff about them. They're really not. These are not Type 0, these are very decent cassettes, and I'm very impressed with how they actually turned out. So thanks again, Paul, for sending me these, and thank you for watching, and tomorrow we'll have another one, day 4 of 7 cassettes in 7 days. But until then, happy taping, and I'll catch you later. Bye bye.